In the metal genre, there are a great many subgenres, from power metal to black metal to thrash metal to industrial metal, and many, many more. But today, I'd like to focus on one specific subgenre, technical death metal, or tech death for short. Hello, thieves, assassins, and rogues of ambiguous gender, and inherently, death metal is a style of music known for its brutality, heaviness, harsh vocal style, and often a focus on groove and interesting rhythm. It can be slow, it can be fast, but you'll recognize death metal when you hear it. For some examples, on the slower side you have Dying by Obituary, and on the faster side, you have Hammer Smashed Face by Cannibal Corpse. Tech death most often takes the speedy aspects of your everyday death metal and turns them up to fucking 12. For example, and, like in the name, it is often used to showcase the technical mastery of the musicians behind the project. However, at least to me, there is a point where tech death crosses the line of being coherent. Now, before anything else, this is just my opinion, and if you enjoy this, go right ahead. Who am I to stop you? But I feel that a lot of technical death metal quickly becomes uninteresting somehow, because you think, if they're playing a million notes a second, surely it would be interesting. But to me at least, technical death metal often loses a core feature of your normal death metal, that being the groove. For example, I was searching one day for death metal bands from Japan to see what the scene is like over there, and I saw a music video from the band Desecravity for the song Bloody Terpsichorean Art. It had a decent amount of views, so I checked on it and I took a listen. Now, I'm not taking away from these guys, they're clearly very talented, and also the drummer's kit is fucking nutter butters, holy shit. But while being very tight, it felt empty, and the rhythm was changing so much that I couldn't really feel it at all. And that's my issue with a lot of tech death, at least in my own listening experience. Now, as with anything, there are exceptions. Great example, my all-time favorite tech death album is None So Vile by Cryptopsy, which is funny, because I consider this technical death metal done absolutely right, and most people don't even consider it that at all. It has that blazing fast speed the genre is known for, and I could never hope to play some of it, but it still has feeling and groove, despite it being so fast. It has catchy parts, such as the intro to Crown of Horns.
Don't you think?
The main riff of Slit Your Guts. And literally all of Dead and Dripping. But again, the difference between Cryptopsy and Desecravity is the groove and the catchiness factor. Another great example, to me at least, would be that of Cynic. They're hard to classify. Going off their debut focus, at least, I'd say they were a progressive technical, sorta kinda but not really-ish death metal band. And again, much like Cryptopsy, this band has so much feeling to it, as well as some truly amazing clean sections, but that's beside the point. This band's music is very complex and technical, but you can still headbang and move to it. My third example is that of Psychroptic, which feels to me like, what if thrash did cocaine more? Chunky riffs with speed galore, but it's not afraid to slow down and linger on a part that's particularly heavy. Example number 4, one of my most extreme examples of technical death metal that works for me. It has groove and feeling, and is still batshit off the wall insane. Take a look at Finite by Origin. This song is at a whopping 260 BPM and is absolutely nuts, but it has a groove, it's easy to find where to headbang, and even when it changes time signatures, you can find it pretty easily. This song, I think it would take like 15 straight years of practice for me to get this correct, even decently. Origin in general is one of my favorite tech death bands, and I really want to see them live. Number 5 is Gojira. Just Gojira. I love them. That's it. Now, before I get to the final point, I have to come clean about something. Rings of Saturn. Based on everything I've said, this truly just should not work for me. I've gone on record with my friends saying this actually, but for some reason, they just clicked with me in a special way. It seems to tickle my neurodivergent brain just specifically enough to work. In conclusion, a lot of groups seem to overlook the feeling aspect, and therefore the music ends up being angular in a bad way. An example of one that I don't really get, but I really appreciate, is Archspire, because those guys are really funny.
Get ready to shit your eardrums with bands that play so fast it makes the Tour de France look like fucking bullshit.
They're just silly with it. But you can do it right, and I've provided several examples of how I prefer my tech death. And that comes to the crux of the issue. I'm really sorry, guys, I don't get necrophagist. I've tried so many times. I just don't get it. If you're a fan of necrophagist, please leave a comment down below explaining your reasoning. I'd love to hear. I've tried. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Tip your server.